Gold short, Bitcoin short, NAS long. That is what it looks like to me at the moment. This is the daily entry. I'm bringing you day trading setups on the NAS, the Dow, gold, oil, and of course, BTC. Let's go. Now, to much relief, yesterday was a way better day than 2 days ago when the NAS was absolutely crushing every single bear on the planet. So we had a much better start. We caught some of these shorts on the live trading that we did on the Chart Hackers YouTube. Guys, make sure you come and watch the Chart Hackers YouTube live trading. We do that pretty much every single day during the week, and the team even trades on Saturday. There's also a link in the show description. Now, remember the rules for what we're looking here for. Typically, okay, we're looking for short moves, quick 2-to-1, 1-to-1 type plays. We want to cut those losers early. We don't want to get married to these trades. We don't want to get married to these losers. Obviously, yesterday was a beautiful mover for us, but we had that downside momentum and it was easy to hold a couple of positions while it started dropping. But let's get into our first chart today, guys. This is oil, and this is obviously our big market guide. Now, we have had a peace deal. We have had a little bit of back and forth, and you can see the market basically sold the news. In terms of the NAS and Dow, we did start getting a sell-off once we had that finalized agreement in place. Now, what does this mean for oil? What is the current game plan? So in terms of oil, if I was solely looking for an oil trade, it's lower and it's higher. So it's long 72.7 into that gap fill all the way to 71. That is long number one for me on oil. This is our WTI TVC chart that I'm watching. If I'm looking for shorts, the only place, guys, has got to be this 50-day MA 81 into that VWAP at 82.5. Those are the main high conviction zones for me for oil, and we can also use these areas pretty nicely as a guide for the rest of the market. Remember, if oil is pushing up, typically the other markets are going to be dropping, and then the minute oil starts rejecting, these other markets should start waking up and pumping a little bit. So you can use that as your guide. Obviously, if we get a straight drop now on oil and everything starts ripping up, you know that is quite a strong oil bounce zone, and that is maybe a TP zone. So we'll make sure this is in the Hackers Discord for you guys. Now let's move to the Dow. This thing has been crazy over the last couple of days, all-time highs again with the S&P, and now it's presenting a couple of opportunities here that are pretty interesting now going into today. I think the first one is we've got to try the short. Okay, you can see these highs here, they've left liquidity behind, and I think risk reward on a short here, which could be a monster short on the Dow, it's pretty small risk to get involved. So 54,736, what you typically want to see is some kind of push into these highs. You never know, they might front run it slightly or they might sweep it above. Just give yourself some breathing room, manage your sizing obviously nicely, but this could be an incredible short here if this does play out. So look at that zone. Then in terms of downside, well, I'm watching the oscillator and I'm using this oscillator as a guide as to when we can get a bounce. And right now it looks like if it is going to roll over, this oscillator needs to drop a lot lower, and that takes us to lower levels. So first zone, guys, degen zone. Okay, this is the 50-50 zone. I'm not that confident, but it is a bounce zone. 54,330. If you want to have a crack here, careful with sizing. It's a VWAP, it's a wick fill, it's a 382, it's a HORI. Like, it looks like it could work. Then where do I get slightly more conviction? It tells me the oscillator will be dropping lower. I'm looking at 54,080. That looks okay. Look at this wick to the left of your screen. You can see that wick over there. We've also got a 618 sitting in that region. So 54,080. Then if it starts dropping, there's no real trade for me until it drops into this lower region, which is the best short-term zone that I can see at the moment in terms of bounces. 53,740 down to 53,680. Look at those wicks on the chart on the Dow. If it drops any lower or goes any higher, guys, remember, I do these updates in the Chart Hackers Discord for you guys during the course of the day. So you're not, after the daily entry videos dropped, you are going to find updates for me, including yesterday, for example, where gold broke out and I gave the guys the exact gold targets there in the Discord. Okay, so you can see there's our gold targets that I gave in the Discord, and we're going to talk about why I think we can start shorting gold during the course of the day. Okay, now before we go to gold, let's talk about the NAS, guys. I covered this 12-hour chart for you yesterday, and it's just a beautiful representation of what the daily entry is all about. What I'm doing here is I'm really just looking for high probability reaction zones. And you can see, look at the NAS, there's only a couple of major zones to the upside and to the downside where you can see potential bounces. Okay, so that is really all we're trying to do here. Let's go into this on the lower time frame and let's start looking at conviction zones. Now, I have put this on the 2-hour time frame today just to tighten up the price action so you can see the whole thing. But in terms of what we nailed yesterday, I gave this exact plan on the live trading yesterday. We even preset some orders here for the NAS. We were looking for the sweep to the upside with the orb trade and then a nice drop, and that is exactly what they gave us, and that is how we nailed that nice big trade there, that big short on the NAS. Now, what does that mean for us today? Well, new day, new opportunities. And in terms of what I'm looking for here, and going back to referencing the higher time frame chart, you can see there's a big zone over here I'd like to see a bounce, and there's a big zone in that region that I would like to see a bounce. So keeping it as simple as possible, I've got pretty high conviction that the NAS is going to bounce today on any drops into the zone. 29,200 into 29,111. That looks pretty good to me. I have cover here from a beautiful high time frame horizontal. I've got a VWAP. I've got a 382 fib. There's a lot of reasons here why we should get a bounce on the NAS. If it drops slightly lower, guys, 28,750 into this horizontal at 28,600. Okay, so that is your zone number 2, and those should essentially be the only trade zones today of interest on the NAS. Try not to trade in between these zones. That is where you can get chopped up. So the way I'm managing my risk at the moment here on the NAS is I've got 2 orders set up at that first high conviction zone, 29,220, 29,168, and I've got preset stops. So I've predefined my risk. It's locked and loaded here. I'm pretty confident we're going to get a bounce. If not, the risk is taken care of. We are going to get a couple of stops, and then we wait for that next zone, or we wait for the next NAS setup for tomorrow. Okay, so keeping it really simple here, and it's going to turn into be a 4-lot trade if that does work out. So what is that? Roughly $120,000, and we'll try and make $700 to $1,000 out of a move like that. Okay, so I've left that one there. Let's talk about gold. Why is this thing looking shorty? Now, yesterday, gold absolutely exploded, and if you were on the live trading with us, you'll see that I had the gold shorts, that I was trading the orb long into the short, looking for the sweep, exactly like we got on the NAS. Now, the NAS was the one that gave us that big rejection. The orb pumped and we got the rejection. Gold, I was looking for the same thing. And gold, the orb gold long just carried on ripping, and the shorts got stopped out. Now, what happened? I dropped the update in the Hackers Discord, and you can see this is a very simple short zone. Okay, look at that undercarriage over here. I have moved into the 12-hour just for context, and you can see we've actually got a macro 382 now at 4,300, and that was bang on that macro fib. Look at that precision on that zone with the undercarriage. So what do we know with this information? There's a high probability that gold is a short in this area, and I believe that during the course of the day, if they do pump it up, it is simply going to be a liquidity grab, and it's going to give us an opportunity to lock in a short for those of you that aren't in a short already. So I'm zooming back into the 2-hour time frame. I just want to show you we've got some bearish order blocks sitting here as well for gold, and I'm feeling pretty confident that these 2 zones are the ones that are going to send gold a little bit lower down. Look at that bearish order block to the upside. So what am I looking for here today? Push up, grab some liquidity, and drop. Obviously, we've got this VWAP protection that you see up there. So 4,295 into about 4,320, guys. Pretty confident that that is going to be a liquidity grab short. If they explode it further for whatever reason, look at this wick, look at this bearish order block, look at this 100-day MA. This is a high probability rejection zone. So if you were going to take on risk, you want to take on risk, guys, this is the type of zone you take on risk. Okay, so that is 4,370 give or take for gold is what we're looking at for those shorts. Okay, good luck with that one. We'll make sure updates are in the Charthackers Discord. Remember, we drop all these updates in there. Now let's talk about Bitcoin. So our short hit from yesterday. So Bitcoin short is that zone that I gave you guys yesterday. We are locked in. Okay, that short is in play now. You can see we got the rejection, and now there's been a couple of developments here on Bitcoin. So if you are not in the short at the moment, I want to give you a precise region that could come into play during the course of the day. Now, just looking at the oscillator on the 2-hour, finally finally we're getting some bearish divergence prints. Look at that, a sharp drop now in that oscillator to go with all these other multiple divergence prints. One thing I'm not loving at the moment, and this is something to keep an eye on, we've got a very strong cash flow here, and we really want to see this cash flow start tailing off. That will give us that indication that we are going to get a nice hard drop on Bitcoin. So eyes on that cash flow at the moment on that oscillator. Remember guys, you can buy this indicator. Just go into the show description, click on more. The indicators are there for you. It's the oscillators plus the whole kit. If you're in the Hackers Discord, you actually get a discount on the indicator. So go find it in the Hackers Discord to get your discount. Okay, so in terms of what's next for BTC, so I am feeling bearish. The issue is there is quite a big bear zone here for Bitcoin. If we have to look at all these wicks, you can see, if you've been watching the daily entry long enough, you know we're chasing these liquidity areas, and at the moment this is a very big bear zone. So what I'd like to see here in a perfect world, and I'm going to show you my exact orders on Bitcoin here, what I'd like to see is if we push up today, simple liquidity grab, finish the job on this wick, and then drop us back down. Alternatively, if there is some form of squeeze or something on BTC, we're going to look for that push into 66k even at an extreme, and then we are going to look for that rejection. So in terms of my exact orders here on my BTC short, you can see I'm locked in the short here. My average entry is at the moment 64,750. I've got sells at 65,250. I've got sells at let me show you exactly there. I've got sells at 65,250. I've got sells at 65,590, and I've got a stop 66046 at the moment. So we're going to let it take care of itself, and you can see I have TP'd some of my ETH long. For those of you that were watching the Chart Hackers YouTube over the last couple of days, you know that I've been trading ETH. I've closed $80,000 of that ETH long. I've got a little bit left, and we're going to wait and see what happens with that. Okay, so guys, that is your daily entry for the day. Good luck out there. Keep it tight. Don't get married to those losers if they start rinsing you. Okay, just hang in there, and live trading later on today. I'm actually bringing Panda on the Chart Hackers YouTube. See you guys later.